Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, on behalf of your Denver-based podcast crew, we appreciate you joining us for the Friendly Vibes.
Coming to you live from TSS Universidad. I am just checking that the camera's working because I've been making some technical mistakes recently. I'm so excited to hang out with my guest tonight, a very talented stand-up comedian who said he's coming off a hot shift at work. And this is a hot-headed place for guests. Talon Saucerman, thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you for having me, Sean. This is way over the top. The last one I did, I believe, was in I think it was a storm drain. I got to be honest with you. That's how high-tech the last podcast I did was.
It wasn't a good appearance in your eyes?
Well, it was in Colorado Springs. So
it's tangled up on you.
Oh, jeez, this is all new to me. I just got the internet, so I'm trying to.
Well, you said you saw my silly little show on the internet, and now you're here. Thank you very much.
No, I thought there was a gentleman on talking about the things Trump knows best, and which I was like, that's beautiful.
Have you gotten the chance to check it out?
I saw the guy talking about his two brothers and the things, and I was like, yes. There's a juxtaposition book about liberal policies.
Yes,
and it's the same thing, different cover.
Exactly.
Which is, it's one of and the guy who published it made millions of dollars.
The Michael Knowles one?
It could be.
Okay.
I don't know.
Probably.
People. So
that's all right. This is not a place where we're going to be fact checking. No producers, so the wings are going to be really good, Talon.
Yeah, that's the guy's name for sure, Michael Knowles. So
I think that's the guy that kind of inspired this idea for me, because he was like a BA of history or something, and then went on to be on the Daily Wire and Ben Shapiro's whole thing as a political commentator. But I have no interest in that.
So how are sales?
Oh, terrible. So bad. I'm also working, like 60 or so hours a week on myself, so I probably don't have enough of my own time to put into getting it out there in the world, but that's fine. I've got 4 years, right?
Maybe. Wait, why is it 4 years?
Well, because didn't he get elected?
Oh, I thought you were just talking about there was, listen,
like I had 4 more years.
I have cancer, and that's my timeline.
It gave me a pretty tight window of what I can expect.
Borderline pancreas, so we don't have a lot of time to promote our books. So, no, well, he'll be there, but then his legacy, as they say, will live on through J.D. Vance. So
that's scary. So the country's getting married to India, is what it sounds like. Just a joke. So there's been a lot of internet drama this week, which will have been a couple weeks in the rears at this point, but about H-1B1 visas and, whether foreigners are taking American jobs.
Well,
and the Trump base is pissed because Elon and Vivek are like, we need to open up more visas for, engineers.
Isn't Vivek on one of those visas? Or is he?
I think they're both pretty much entrenched in the American capitalist system at this point.
He is an African American. I keep forgetting about Elon being
I had a buddy in my school, a white guy, that was an African American. Grew up in South Africa. Then it's like, oh, that's interesting. That's fun.
It's hard to explain to people why you can say the N-word.
I don't think he ever tried that one, but that would be a tough sell. If
you're a part of the apartheid in South Africa, I don't think that you get grandfathered in.
Yeah, my family comes from Rhodesia. Remember it?
Listen, it's fine.
Don't look into it.
Yeah, exactly. No, I was in South Dakota for most of the week, so I missed news
in the homeland, out where the real country happens.
That's true.
It really is. I mean, most New York and LA people in this country are so far up their own echo chamber that they don't know. They haven't driven enough of nothing of this country to understand what America actually is.
I give you that, because they've never not seen just American Furniture Warehouse after Home Depot after American Furniture. If you head to, before you hit Wyoming, I think there are 6 American Furniture Warehouse.
Where high?
Yeah, where high. Going north, Outlet Mall after Home Depot after
car dealership.
Yeah, and then you hit Wyoming, they're like, is this the ice wall they talk about? The flat earthers were right.
Well, and there's beautiful parts of Wyoming, and then there's just what is essentially like Nebraska or Oklahoma.
Oh, it's lovely. I did a lovely show in Rock Springs 3 weeks. I guess it was right before Thanksgiving. And Tuesday night, obviously, big night in Rock Springs. I guess the meth handoffs are Wednesdays, so everybody's ramping up for that. So I drive back Wednesday morning on a sheet of ice.
Oof.
Clear, almost to Laramie.
How slow do you have to take it?
I was going slower. Like, they were semis passing me, and then you pass the semi on the side in the ditch, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go. It's about, I would say 35, 40. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care. I got nothing to do when I get home.
And those semi drivers are insane, passing you on the left, like trying to.
I'm like, my God! Hey, you have at her, buddy. I'll get out of your way. I don't. I've got things to live for. You know, possible alimony in the future. Should the marriage not go the way I planned it.
I'll sip beer to that.
But no, I'm just like, yep. I remember years back, I was auditioning for the Great American Comedy Festival in Norfolk, Nebraska, and it's a 8:00 show, and I take off from. They said get there an hour early. I take off from Colorado, and I realize I forgot to factor in the time change. So I get about halfway there, and I call the guy and I said, listen, I am going to be close to showtime. He's like, that's cool, whatever. So I think there's 12 of us on the show, and I'm going 90 mile an hour in a blizzard to get to a show to possibly make it to a competition where I don't get paid. And I made it there.
Wow.
Got to the next level, drank with everybody for about 3 hours, and then about 2 a.m., I turn around and drive back to Denver in a blizzard because I have to play football at 10 a.m. in Washington Park with all the other idiots I play football with.
Nice.
But in my mind, just another day.
Yeah, part of the gig.
So drive,
the commute back, guys.
Drive for 9 hours, do the show.
How old were you at this point?
26, 27,
wow.
I think.
Yeah, that is the age. That's like right around my age now. And it's like, that's the age to do something crazy.
It's like that. Listen, I can only have one more beer. I got a 9-hour drive ahead of me. So,
wow.
Yep. And like I said, 90 mile an hour. Can't see the road. I'm like, I have to make this could change my career. and it did not.
Well, it's Nebraska, unfortunately.
I get 5 minutes in Nebraska.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. Like, I would be so worried about I would drive 9 hours for 5 minutes. Yep. Chance at more. Yeah, dude. I totally understand. It's wild.
The notoriety. I did a Johnny Carson impersonation at the Johnny Carson Theater, and it did not go well.
What's the most remote place you've gotten to do comedy?
Swing and a miss. Probably my hometown.
Yeah. Where's that?
Midland, South Dakota.
How many hours from here?
It's about 7.
Okay.
It's a town it was about 200 when I was in high school. There's 100 there now. I'd be surprised. They shut down high school. There's not much. There was a time,
that's sad.
About 15 years ago, I went back to see my parents. It's a Wednesday night. I go into the bar in town, and I walk in, and D. Kelly is Denver guy. He's sitting at the bar, and I walk in, and he goes, "Hey, what are you doing here?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
That's wild.
He's like, "I'm doing comedy." I was like, are you serious? So he and another guy from New York are doing comedy in Midland, South Dakota on a Wednesday. And I just happened to be back. And I know who the guy was because some guy reached out to me and said, "Hey, this guy's doing a tour through South Dakota and Nebraska. Do you want to open for him?" And I was like, "Not really," because the pay was crap. And It was a Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. I was like, so there's just a Thursday that what do you do? You know?
Just hang out with my thumbs?
Yeah. And then and it was in my hometown for whatever reason.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, well, that's
That's fun. Did you get to like go on the show at all or no?
No, I showed up late. The guy was just finishing.
Gotcha.
And D. Kelly had already been on, and he was
That's hilarious.
very popular in my hometown.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people there who didn't even know the Civil War had ended. So
he's really bringing people up to speed then. Yeah. So you growing up in a rural place. What was life like for you? Are you an only child? Big family?
No, I got 2 brothers. I got twins a year older than me.
Oh, okay.
And they're, here's the sad part. Like we had a lovely, loving family upbringing, parents very supportive, loving, all that. And now you just assume that's normal in the world. And then as you get out into the world and you get into stand-up comedy, which, is a magnet for dysfunction on some level, and you hear everybody else tell their stories, and I was like, this is like, I was like, yeah, my parents sometimes only told me they love me twice a day. I get that. It's
yeah. Oh my God. Difference than like I'm missing one of the parents or like they both dead or yeah.
They're both wonderful and loving and they still support my comedy. I'm
That's
like,
awesome.
I don't know what to tell you. My mother hugged me a lot.
Did your older brothers beat you up? Getting it from twins that are a year older?
No, they were. I was always bigger than both my younger brothers. So
really? Oh, they're younger. Sorry, younger.
But my older brother, they're a year older than me, but I was always bigger than them.
Gotcha.
So there was never but we never got to.
Did you guys play on the same sports teams growing up, all three of you?
Pretty much. But it's a small town like that. Everybody played every sport because if you didn't do basketball, football, basketball, and track, then you had to go and help your dad on the farm. So those were the trade-offs. Like,
yes.
But no, they're both tiny little people, and I feel bad for them a little bit. But
was your family a farming family?
Yeah. So my parents are still both back on the farm.
Where do they farm?
Well, at this point, they're both, I guess, semi-retired.
Okay.
So they got farmland or pasture land. They rent it out. But it was wheat, mostly wheat.
Okay.
Dry, because dry, arid climate, nothing there. Irrigation was expensive, and they didn't have ethanol back then, so nobody was paying a government subsidy for corn there. So, and then we raised cattle, which are delicious. If you
I've had them actually once or twice. You actually don't get this big if you don't. Fun fact for the vegans out there.
Yeah,
thinking of raising your kid without meat, they won't be this big.
5'4". That's the limit.
Shrink your milk kids.
Tofu. That's
they call it the tofu line. Yes. It's like the 48th parallel or whatever. 38th parallel.
Yeah. If you get above it, that's when the North Koreans get involved.
North Korea's like, we're engineering a man to reach past the tofu line. 5'7".
Yeah. Oh, God. That man would be a god in North Korea.
I've thought about traveling to Asia and how cool it would be to see stuff, but then also how much of my time would be spent being oogled at more than I already am in America.
Just taking pictures with locals.
Why would be an attraction?
Because they're like, he's definitely in the NBA.
I'd have to charge for pictures too. I could totally I could probably find it. That'd be a fun YouTube series, trying to finance a trip to East Asia through nothing but pictures of myself with people in the public because I get oogled. That would be interesting. I wonder if that's possible. I should do a breakdown on that. How much money would I have to make every day to finance that type of thing? At this point, there's got to be YouTube investors out there. Oh, dude, there should be. VCs. Did you see that that Hot Wings show? Hot Ones or whatever? Yeah. It got bought by BuzzFeed for like $82.5 million recently. That seems high. And the reasoning they said is, we can, train AI to make more shows like this. And it's like, hang on, you just completely missed the point, Mr. Investor. You watch someone build a unique idea from nothing and no funding and nothing but love. And now you're saying, we want to acquire and use this for our capitalist goals. But also we can do it next time without the people part. Yeah. Why spend the money if you're going to AI the... What are we doing here? Holy cow. What a short run mind. These people that control the world on capital, they just have such a short... They could extract so much more profit if they just thought a little bit bigger. Guess what? If young people don't have any path to home ownership, if there's no hope, they're not going to try. They're not going to get involved in your systems. Or you incorporate in China and then...
intellectual property
Or
is
just take it.
there's no laws about it at all. So this, holy cow! So that kid and that guy's got he's a hell of an interviewer.
Yeah, he really is very talented. Got a whole team
And so $82 million he sold that show for.
Yeah, for like I think it was for the First We Feast network. So I think it was the Hot Ones, and there's maybe like one or two other things within that production company.
And then because he's what, 40?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, totally.
Where do you go from there?
Well, I think about these tech guys that sell their app for $50 million. Where do you go at 27?
Like
after you sell your app?
Like I'll wear I'll put on a pair of pants for a comedy
Thanks for
show.
doing that, by the way.
And those are my good ones. This one has 4 holes, and I'll find $40 in my pocket, and I'm like, what a great day! Didn't know I had that. And then here's $82 million to wow. That's nuts. I don't even know what people are like. What do you do if you won the lottery? I was like, I get new socks, and then no, I don't know. I have no idea what
Maybe
I do.
like another pair of socks.
Yeah. The rest of the $300 million, I honestly don't know.
My dad used to have like the full, stupid breakdown of, wow, here's how much money after if we win this time, and here's where we'll spend it. And it was just it's a fun dream. It's fun to dream.
But that's the kicker. It's one of those deals where I'm in I guess I would say a unique position to where it's not
a draw for you.
There's no, oh my God, we have to budget here. Do we choose between Hulu and Netflix? There's no, I guess, I don't know. There's no paycheck to paycheck. Like when I was in my 20s, it was,
yeah,
it was like, all right, I guess we're not buying the extra case of beer this week.
Yeah,
type of situation.
Totally.
Where you're pooling your money with your roommates, doing all this stuff, and
right.
Hopefully everybody gives you the rent check because the lease is in your name, type of thing.
Right. Now you're further along in the life path where you don't have to worry about the little bit more scraping by of the American dream.
It's amazing when you stop going to the bar 6 nights a week, how much extra money you have.
Yes, that's a great shout out. I haven't been to the bar in a while, but I find myself with more money to spend on other stupid stuff because of that. So thankfully, like this.
There's always
like this show you're watching.
Look at that. This isn't cheap. These are nice. Like you guys don't know watching this, but these are quality headphones and microphones. I tell you
Not
what,
that quality, folks.
They're
sound good enough to do the job.
They're soundproofing. You got all sorts of stuff.
Proofing. We're in a garage here. Can't really proof much.
Yeah. I assume these eggshells.
They're supposed to be something like
came out of a
lab,
Amazon
alien
package.
lab somewhere. Me and my friend Marvin. Yeah. My El Salvadorian workforce, we built these panels.
And it's sad they're all being deported here in 23 days.
I know, we were going to build more panels, but I think he's a sad.
That's life.
Shouts out to Marvin. We love you.
But there's that theory that, what is it, $80,000?
I studied it. I literally wrote my undergrad dissertation on happiness economics because I was so fascinated by this like quest for greed and money. And it's like, you don't get any happier after 70.
Who's the kid that works at County Works, local guy that does the joke about, I think it's Zach Moss, where he says $80,000.
He's got that one.
And it's like, it's hard to find out. Yeah. He's like, it took that to realize I've never been happy.
Yeah,
because he's never hit that mark. I think I've hit it twice in my life, the $80,000 mark, and that was gross income because I had my own. I worked for myself
as a contractor,
and if you're turning a profit, you're doing something wrong, type of thing. And the comedy helps because you make no money doing that, so that's a lovely little write off against all your gains as well.
There you go.
Last year I made $12,075.
Wow.
And I rode off 11,788 miles in travel.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is, I think, right at 60 cents a mile is what they
something like that.
Write off. So any profit I would have made doing anything was negated by the write-offs to get to that level.
Wow.
But at some point, it's just the way it is. If you're not, they talk about the 1% in America, and comedy, it might be 0.5%.
Yeah.
That make money doing it, and everybody else is
You do it for 25 years and still maybe.
I'm right there. Oh.
How close are you? How many years you been at it?
Carry the 2. 18?
Wow.
Minus 3 with my ex-wife. I don't count those. I think we can, I don't know if that counts towards my retirement or not.
So 15.
Yeah, let's do 15.
Nice.
And and no one's ever actually talked to me about what the perks are of the retirement from comedy. I think the good comedians die. Yeah, die young.
Well, ideally young, but
die young, up to their neck in debt. That's the dream, right?
Oh man.
That's no. So
I'm trying.
Yeah. Listen, just give me a little more cocaine. I'll get there. No, but that's the no, it's, did you ever see, what the hell was the show? Showtime had a series from the early 70s. I'm Dying Up Here.
Yeah.
And the Winter Soldier was got on the Tonight Show, drank a 6-pack of beer and walked out in front of a bus and killed himself. Because that was the top. That was as high as he could go. And he's like, it's all downhill from here. And so that was like the first 5 minutes of the first episode.
Wow.
Then I was like,
I haven't seen that. I need to revisit that.
And I was like, what are you doing? You're Captain America's best friend. Maybe he had a scheduling conflict with the Avengers photo or the movie shoot. So he's like, listen, I can only do the one episode. And they're like, hey, we'll just kill you in the first one.
Wow.
But it's one of those, it's one of those, this is set like in the early 1970s. And this guy is just like, Tonight Show, that's the pinnacle.
Was that with Carson at that point?
Yeah. And the guy they got to play him was a horrible Carson. I was like, if only the scout had been in Norfolk, Nebraska that weekend. I did not.
This guy could have done it.
Oh, I could have. I think I may have. I think my broad shoulders.
So how old were you when you did your first mic? What drew you to comedy?
I was installing phone lines.
Okay. Very South Dakota thing to do.
Yes, we were doing. This is in, I think, 2004. I installed the new phones and internet at Comedy Works.
Okay.
And the guy, my boss, who I'd met at the bar I worked at night, hired me to work for him during the day. And we were down there, and he tells Jeff Fisher that I want to be a stand-up comedian. And the only open mic I'd ever done, I did a show at a toga party at my house.
Nice.
Some random set. It was, and I on the back stoop. Everybody's sitting in the audience, all my friends, and I did like 40 minutes.
What? Just rambling.
Yeah, this is because I've been like, I can do this. I'm funny and do all this stuff because I'm at the bar and people are like, you should do stand-up comedy. And I'm like, yeah, how hard could it be? So I do this, I do that deal. And then I put the phone lines in at Comedy Works, and Jeff goes, well, anytime you want to get on Tuesday, you just call me and I'll put you on. So I could skip the line.
That's cool.
I didn't have to go through the 6-8 weeks, whatever it was, to get on New Talent Night. So Jeff puts me on. I do 2 minutes and
2 minutes.
And
that's 38 less than last time.
Right.
Should be easy.
So I got my 2 minutes and I'm stoked to do it. There's a kid named Phil Porter who's emceeing. And I do my 2 minutes. And
what was it about? Do you remember? Can you?
It did. Yeah. Well, I do. So Phil, after I do my set, he goes, hey, do you want to go up and introduce one of the other comedians? And he's like, you did great. He's like, you want to do that? I was like, whoa, this is awesome. Yeah, this would be great. So the guy running New Talent Night tells me, they do the notes in the green room. And he says, I would never use you ever. He's like, I didn't like your set. I didn't think there was anything there. He's like, I don't think you should come back again.
Wow.
So this is my first 2 minutes, and the crowd loved it and they laughed. So I did a bit where I said that cunt isn't a bad word. It's an acronym for can't understand normal thinking. And at the time, hilarious to me. Never used it since. Because it's not. But
It would kill in Australia.
Yeah.
Australia
So, right. But I'm just like, so I did that in 2 minutes. They laughed. I had a good time. The guy let me go back up there and do it. I'm flying high. And then this guy tells me it's the worst he's ever heard. He'd never book me again at Comedy Works. Just destroyed me. So I didn't come back for a while. I called Jeff. He puts me back up. I go down there. I do 3 minutes, and I start getting into the open mic and stuff. And then I quit my night job because I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do comedy. I'm going to quit my bartending job. I call down, and they're like, Jeff doesn't work here anymore. So now I'm back at the bottom end. And I'm like, well, this is the grind, I guess. I started hitting open mics and doing all that, and then. Because it's one of the, like, you're funny. Your friend's like, you're funny. You should do it. Everybody, you're the funniest in the friend group. And then you get on stage and it's not that at all.
It's not that at all.
And it's
completely
like
different.
This, and at some point, you either get up there and you do it and you hate it. You're like, this isn't for me. I don't want to do it again. Or you get up there and you suck and you're like, this is for me. I'm doing it. The hell with. I am funny. I'll show you. But it's all about timing. It doesn't matter how funny you are if you can't deliver it.
Yeah, it really is.
And but you don't know that walking into it. Just you get hit in the face, and then So second year I'm doing comedy. I get second at the New Faces contest.
Nice. The second year you're doing it,
and I'm like, this is easy. And then next year, make the finals, don't get on. Next year, I don't make the finals. And I'm like, all right, this is, the contest is the contest. But I'm like, I'm past, doing 5 minutes, whatever it is. So, I'm a feature now. I don't need 5 minutes. I'm not a do that. So I move on from that. But never got anywhere closer than second place at any other contest, which still hurts a little bit, but it's hard to.
Can you do it again or no?
No,
You're an old face now.
Yeah, they've asked me.
Look at that face, Jesus. Folks.
Yeah, they've
4K. I'm gonna have to zoom in on this old face.
Several managers have asked me not to.
It's about enough of you, this guy. There's more faces out there.
We get it.
Listen, Talon,
you're not gonna win.
You got second, man.
You are a straight white male. We can't have you on the contest.
I mean, it hurts. It's kind of the rules now. I get the morning blast every morning from the cabal. They let me know the current rules, and I read up on them. I'm like, I can't say that now? That's crazy.
I got to get on the internet. There's so many things I don't understand about stand-up comedy. And then I'll watch other people do stand-up comedy sometimes on Netflix and other platforms, and I'm like, I don't think I understand comedy anymore. That's I've got what I think is a decent metaphor for it. It's the only art form where it's like you don't know the instrument you're playing until you're a master at the instrument, and then suddenly the instrument reveals itself, and you're like, oh, it's an oboe. If I just play it like an oboe, it sounds so good every single time. Now I know how to play the oboe, and I just play it like an oboe, and it works so well. That's not a bad metaphor for it because
you don't know what your voice is until you get there.
No idea. There's a guy we're not supposed to talk about anymore because he did a lot of roofing. So
Cosby?
Maybe. So this guy. Just a Spanish fly. And so I saw him, he was interviewing with some grad student at a Boston college who I assume he raped later. But he was talking to her and he says, so when I started out doing comedy, my buddies would drive me to the club, and then when the show was over, they'd say, you're funnier in the car on the way to the club than you are on stage. And he's like, you got to figure out how to be the guy in the car on stage. Well, basically is everybody in the car grew up with him, knows him, comfortable, and they get all the inside jokes, all the little nuances. And you have to be that guy. You have to make the audience feel like they grew up with you. They know who you are.
Yes.
And he says, it took me about 1.5 years to figure that out. And I'm 10 years in when I hear this. And I was like, well, good for you, buddy. And like I said, 18 years in, I'm still not sure I have any idea what the hell I'm doing. I know I'm better than I was when I started. But I just, honestly, it's like, okay, this works some nights, but not other nights. I'm like, maybe but I don't know.
But there's no formulaic way for you to discern what the differences is or any of that?
There probably is. I'm not smart enough to figure it out, but it's one of the, you're your own worst critic. But at the same time, I'm like, I know I'm, like I said, I know I'm getting better.
Yeah.
But
which is hard, like your own worst critic.
Yeah.
That alone, recognizing that must be a huge leap. You're probably getting a lot better than you're even giving yourself credit for.
So there was a guy, I did a show in my hometown, sold out. I mean, there were
50 people were there,
standing room only. My grandmother, who's pushing 80, they take her out of assisted living. She wants to get there. She wants to make sure she gets a good seat. She showed up 2 hours early to the show, so she's sitting right up front.
She's used to breakfast at the old folks' home, and that's when other people show up for breakfast.
So this is way past her bedtime. They had lunch at 3:30. She shows up at 6, shows at 8, and we did, like I said, packed crowd. I mean, everybody in town shows up to see me, because prior to that, I think 6 years prior to that, I did a show there, and it was looking back, probably the worst thing I've ever done comedically, which is not good when you offend everybody who you've grown up with. But so I do this show, and a guy who went to high school with my father comes up to me and he says, "That's as good as anybody else I've ever seen on TV." And I was like,
you got to remember that comment, Talon, because that's the truth.
I was like, that's fantastic.
So did you find the nearest bus?
So I was like, I'm going to LA right now. I got to get out of here. What am I doing? Wasting my time.
This is my Johnny Carson moment.
Yeah. But it was just like, that's awesome. But where do I go from here? I was like, can you call everybody I know and tell them that too? Because how do you even, that's the thing. You're good enough to, sell out Madison Square Garden. But if no one knows to book you there, how do you get the guy to book you there when you're ready?
Yes,
I guess is the hardest part. And I think that's half the reason that you got so many older bitter comedians, because they're ready.
Yeah,
but there's never any.
They didn't navigate from the beginning at this is a business. I need to understand all the parts of this business. It's like, no, dude, they've been trying to get funny for 2 decades.
And I don't know if you just never get that break.
It's coming.
Who's to say?
Your name's Talon Saucerman.
All right.
Give it some fucking time.
Listen, I got about 5 more good years before my knees go out.
No.
And I can't do my day job.
I'm a 25-year-old. I'm a 27-year-old now. Listen, 25, I got a fused spine, Talon. We're going to be just fine, brother.
I'm talking about my day job. I have to have comedy hit. I got 5 years to sell this.
I guess that's fair. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, this body's going to fail. He can't construct forever, folks.
Yes.
Well, these wings are ready to eat, so we're going to go pull them. We'll take a little break, and we'll come back for a little after hours. Okay? Have you heard the radio before in your life?
I have heard. Yeah, the AM?
And the FMs, too.
Oh, good.
This is our signature station identification. You're listening to 91.1. Oh, shit, was that another plane? We'll be right back. We're back. We're live. It's the After Hours show. Man, what a fun hang. Thanks for being here, Talon.
Post wings. This is lovely.
You've now enjoyed the signature top shelf wings.
Yeah.
What do you give them out of whatever kind of score you want?
As far as wings go, wonderful. I usually, when I go out, I order white buffalo, which means...
What is that?
As spicy as white people can handle them.
Gotcha.
Medium.
White buffalo.
Yeah, white. And they often don't get it either. And I'm like, it's just for me. I say so. But yeah, those are fantastic. Absolutely. Yeah, not spicy, not too spicy. A little kick. Not even a kick, just flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Very flavorful. Yeah.
Well, I found that it's a good way to entice people like yourself to, hey, I'll cook you some wings and give you some beer.
Let's do it. What are you doing tomorrow?
I know, dude, right? I cut down my beer consumption, drinking consumption to just potting, and then I found myself potting more frequently.
Damn. Man, that's my problem. I don't pot enough. I have left to my own devices without comedy shows. I sit and drink.
I mean, c'est la vie.
Which will probably...
You've worked your whole life to be able to sit and drink.
Yeah, but it's probably going to kill me eventually.
Well, hopefully not soon. You got many more good years gracing the stage, I hope.
Yeah, I'd have to see a doctor for something like that. But
offending people in Colorado.
Yes.
Making people, I mean, hey, That Patrice said you're supposed to make half the people upset, or you're not doing it right. So
what did old Chappelle say? It's our responsibility to speak recklessly as comedians, which is just wonderful. And then
I do it every single episode. If you've been a loyal fan of the show, literally every episode I speak recklessly.
But then you get no response on stage. I'm like, well, maybe I should tone it down a little bit. Oh,
you guys don't know the Chappelle quote?
Unbelievable. There's so many comedians in town that just like they just have no regard for whether the people like them or not, and they say it's like Alan Bromwell, like the stuff he says on stage. I'm like, I wish I had the balls,
dude,
to say stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I work with like same with Jamie LaSalle. Like the stuff he says, I'm like, I need to do more of that. I got to work with JP Sears. I think it was like last spring, and he was going, the stuff he was doing. I was like, yeah, stop being a pussy on stage. Like you can be funny and be yourself too. Like you shouldn't be afraid.
Yeah.
Because like when the vaccine came out, and everybody was taking it, I was working with.
I mean, you look like a Pfizer man. I don't want to put you in a camp.
I got the Johnson & Johnson because they said I had to get a shot to be able to work in town. So I get the shot, and they said, listen, the what the hell they say, the efficacy in the effectiveness, basically, whatever. There's an adjective for it. So they said, it wears off when your arm stops hurting.
Efficacy, right?
That's the one. That's the guy.
It's taking me a while too.
Yeah,
and I was like, what are we going for here?
I know that I'm close. I'm so close. But they're like, your arm's going to hurt for 15 minutes. That's about the amount of efficacy that this thing has. I'm like, huh? So I have my fancy card. I go down to Comedy Works, and I go in first night back, and I was like, do you need this? And the guy goes, nah, I trust you. Like, are you? Okay. And then never got checked again. At any point, no one ever said, whoa, hey, I need to see that card.
Really? No, but it was like a thing here in Denver, right?
Yeah, they said you had to be vaccinated to be on the show. And then there was spacing the tables, all this stuff. And I did a show for, I think it was
like to get into bars too, right?
Yeah.
Like if you were going to go out and drink with your buddies.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't do that because I'm married. We don't.
Oh, fair enough.
I don't get to do it. I don't do that.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, how about when you take your wife out for a glass of wine? Were there like, did you have to show a vaccine card to like get into? I know like New York and some places, but I don't know if Denver did that.
We don't go out much.
Fair enough.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Anyway, so you had to show it. So one time.
So the headliner and the two other guys that were talking, they were talking about. So apparently there's a group of like 12 that came down to the show, and they said you can't come in unless everybody has a vaccine card, and they stormed away. Whatever. And the headliner was like, good, I don't want them on my show anyways. I was like, you're honest. You're not even 6 feet. That you don't die with 6 feet. And I don't know, they're probably in the balcony at this point because they were towards the end of the line. And everybody's like, yeah, we don't want those people at this show. And I was like, whoa, okay, well, maybe I'm like, yeah, let's get our torches and pitchforks and make sure.
Where are the witches?
Sons of bitches.
Show me the witches.
Yeah. I was just like, it
was so crazy to see how quick people like flipped. If it was, some people believe it's, crazy people that are like, oh, it was just a test experiment. The government just wanted to test a social experiment to see like how people react to power and circumstance. Yeah. It's like, well, we did a piss poor job.
Well, and then there's the other side where my other brother, Daryl, he's fairly certain that the mRNA is nanobots.
Right. And I've seen people have that opinion too.
At any point, the new 5G will just kill 10% of the population. And I was like, that seems extreme. I was like, maybe. I was like, the good news is the 5G doesn't work in my neighborhood, so I'm going to be fine either way.
There you go. Dang, that new tower's going up, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully, because my wife got 3 of the shots from Pfizer, and who's to say? And she's had COVID 4 times, I think.
Wow.
after the third shot, she's like, I don't think these are doing anything. And I was like, maybe.
Who knows?
I was like, also, you've had COVID.
Trust the experts.
You've had the disease you're getting vaccinated for.
And then I noticed there were no flu cases that year.
Yeah.
Never mind. We probably shouldn't talk about this.
We are way off topic.
The
here.
internet
Let's
probably
get
won't
back
allow
to our
this.
sponsor, Pfizer.
What is it, CNN?
No, that's funny. There's a kid in town, Tyreek Dillard, and he
was on the pod.
Was he?
Yeah, he was on with Brian earlier this year. It was awesome.
So the first time I worked with him a couple shows, never really talked to him. Well, first time I'm going to work with him, I'm working in Sedalia, which is, I don't know, 3.5 hour drive from here. So guy asked me if I could pick him up and drive him down there. And there's the three of us are going to do a show. All right, fine. So I go over to his place, and I know he, like the last 2 times I saw, he's on a cart. He's got a little scooter he drives around on. So I'm like, all right, do I have to load the thing in the truck? I don't know. We'll see when I get there. So I get there. He comes out. He's like, nah, that thing doesn't work. He's like, I'll be fine. So I'm like, do I need to give you a booth? So I'm like, don't know the guy, nothing. They have no clue background. He gets up in the truck. We take off. And I'm like, all right, 3 hours. Who's to say? I don't know. I don't know any background, nothing. First thing he says is, how do you feel about vaccines? And I was like, this is either going to be a really long drive or we're going to be fine. And so it turns out we're fine. Everybody's fine. We drove down there, had a nice conversation, drop him off at his hotel.
Some good civil discourse.
Yeah.
And a thing that people used to just do with everybody.
And it was, very
just
agreeable.
A fun conversation.
We chatted, we joked, everybody was good. Not any point. So so the viewers at home did no legs below the knees.
Yeah.
And
check out his episode with Brian Sullivan if you haven't already.
Obviously, you guys have seen the show before. You know that. So
he's the man.
Not one point in 4 hours in the truck together does it even come up. Right? So I drop him off. He's at a different hotel because he needs a handicap room. I go. The headliner is Todd Johnson. I don't know if you've ever.
I haven't.
He's out of Idaho, near Salt Lake City. So he's coming in. He's doing loonies down in the Springs. We do this show Wednesday, and so I'm staying with him. I pick him up at our hotel. We pick up Tyreek. We go to the show. First thing Todd says when he gets in the car is, "Hey, what happened to your legs?"
Oh my god, dude!
What the fuck? I'm like, oh well, I guess we're getting it out. I was just like 4 hours.
Yeah,
I didn't bring it up because I can only imagine he has to talk about.
Did you cut in with a joke where you're like, bro, I've lasted 4 hours not bringing anything up?
And I was like, I'll be damned. You don't have any left.
You tried to be like, whoa, what?
I was like, I feel bad saying you should move the seat back if you need more leg room. I'm so sorry.
Well, when they came to do the pod, this is a fun side story real quick. When they came to the pod, Brian got out and they were like arguing back and forth. So he comes around back to try to get his thing out. And Tyree's like, no, I don't need my thing. And he's like, all right. So he shuts the back. We do the pod, hang out, smoke after, chilling. My friend leaves and he's like, yo, did they drive a Jeep? Because their driver's side door is open. So Brian had like gotten out of the car and never closed.
I forgot to shut the door.
It was like 11:30 to 1 in the morning. And the door was just
the door's been open and it was
for
just
hours. Yeah, and it just happened. Just completely got lucky and was fine. But it's just so funny because they were arguing about the card. He's so funny, dude. What a funny dude. Both of those dudes are great. Both
Brian?
Tyree and Brian.
They're both hilarious. You said the one guy. And I was like, wait, which
Ty was Tyree thinking Tyree, but they're both great.
No, that's the thing. But I'm like, how many times has he had to been?
Oh my gosh, it's like me with my height. That's why I can think I can empathize in a certain way because I've every single day.
It's just like not having legs. You're right.
Well, the first 5 minutes I ever tried to do, I tried it at the time. It was like 2018, 2019 or whatever, and midget. The word was going away. It's like very, in the news, like we shouldn't say this word. No. I was like, okay, like I should be able to say this word.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a whole like, it was pretty poorly done. And it was my first time. And I was like, kind of like, well, I'm black enough to say midget or, kind of, I should have delivered it that way. Yeah. But that was the whole premise.
Listen,
I'm tall enough, right?
But that's the kicker. You don't know until You try it,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I should have done something different.
Not very good. Pretty hack. Not very funny.
But when it's the funniest damn when you write your first set, you're like, this is gonna kill.
Oh, I didn't even know if I was there. I was so nervous, dude.
No chance this doesn't kill. Right? You're like, this is my best. This is it. I've nailed it. This is it. And
I was lucky because at that point, I was already a door guy in a club. So I not only had like watched stand up online and seen specials on Netflix and been a fan, but I'd like seen it in person, and it broke the barrier of like thinking I knew what the fuck it was.
So you had more of a background to know what you should do than you shouldn't. What was your first time at the Comedy Works?
No, it was in Iowa. I was working at Penguins Comedy Club at the time in Cedar Rapids there. Basement club.
And they are known for their penguins. You're not wrong.
I mean, they got since closed. That's how well known they are for their penguins. But yeah, it was so funny. Like it's one of those clubs where like, you know, John Mulaney referenced it when he was talking to Dave Letterman about like, you know, no matter where you are in a venue sense of like Radio City or Penguins, Cedar Rapids, and it's like, what the fuck?
And they're like,
so it's like it's a club that, you know, road comics would do and stuff. So,
but John Mulaney played it, right? So a lot of big names go through there.
Yeah, it's
because and that was your first time. Are there people coming in your house?
Are you hearing?
Is that me?
Is it your boots?
Sound like a door.
Oh, it's your boots.
Yeah, it's my damn boots. That's my fault.
Damn boots.
I'll click them the other way.
No, you're all good.
Yeah, we thought we were about to get robbed. I have no idea how much cash he keeps on site here, but
the producers didn't come today. No.
You hear black helicopter circling? Is that me? All right.
Well, it's been a good ride. You'll never see this one, but
here's a good question for you. How the hell did you get here from Penguins? Was it like you were like, all right, we'll transfer you to the Comedy Works?
I grew up outside of Boulder, and so like most of my class went to CU Boulder, and I always saw myself going to CU Boulder. And then I got a big scholarship opportunity to go to the middle of nowhere in Iowa, Cedar Rapids. And so I was like, oh, well, I can be in debt forever. Or I could treat this like a job for 4 years.
Or I have to go to Iowa.
And they had a really good econ program. And at that point, I was like, I've got to go to law school. And econ's a good undergrad for that. So,
God, you had way bigger plans than I did after high school.
I traded the view of the Flatirons that I grew up playing youth football.
Just corn.
The Quaker plant, worse than corn.
Ooh.
Mostly bad smells, except for when it was Crunchberry Day.
God bless it. That does sound
One
nice.
day every 2 weeks, it was magical town. You would wake up and it would all smell like Crunchberry. Literally the air from the toxins probably smelled like Crunchberries.
Whatever cyanide they put in. Red dye number 4.
Oh, that's Red 40, baby.
That's the good stuff. It's going to be a good day.
This is America.
It's going to be a good day today.
No, it was cool though, because I got to meet a lot of people that I wouldn't have otherwise. I think at CU probably got to meet from, you know, St. Louis, big groups of people from St. Louis and Chicago and, you know, rural Iowans that graduated with like 12 people in their high school.
Yeah,
so.
from the other side of the river.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I went the other way. I went to art school from South Dakota.
So from nowhere to where? Where?
Right here in Denver.
Nice.
That's how it brought me out here, art school. And just, I mean, what a colossal waste of money.
Art school, CU Denver, where at?
It was the Art Institute of Colorado. Yeah. And like I said, just something different.
What were you focused on? Like visual arts?
Theoretically, computer animation.
Very cool.
But it was basically, I'm 18. I don't want to be a farmer. Let's try something different.
Yeah.
And that was not it. So,
what was that transition from like what you grew up to Denver like?
I mean, just we grew up. There was a town of 200 people. There were 3 churches, and you know, everybody just paper white, you know, conservative family values. And then you go to art school in Denver, they're like, this is weird. Like, what's a vegan? That's crazy. So like, you don't eat any cows?
None?
Have you ever tried a cow? Bacon is Are you serious?
The right way. Have you cooked it the right way?
You're doing it wrong. No, it's a culture shock for sure.
Yeah.
Just driving was
Yeah,
hard.
that's what I would even think. The basic things.
Yeah.
Go to the grocery store.
So, but it's one of those things where like, all right, well, if you need something, you just go to the store and get it. Like where I grew up, it was once a month you went to the big city, and that's when you get. So it's different, but yeah, at the same time, not for me.
Did you slip into the enjoying it pretty quick or no?
Not really, because I was still dating my cousin's wife back home when I came out here, and we were going to get married at some point.
After they got divorced, or?
Well, they weren't married yet, but it's way funnier.
Come on, Tal.
There's one guy who doesn't think that joke is funny.
Yeah, but come on. It's just wordplay. It's a wordplay joke.
And still to this day does not laugh when I say that. But I don't
Makes sense.
I don't think he has the internet, so we should be safe here.
He won't find this.
He's way bigger than me, too.
He won't find this.
But it's one. So I come out here. I'm dating this girl. We're dating. We're gonna get married. That's what you do. There's no reason to date if you're not back where I grew up. So I'm out here. I'm going to school, and she dumps me for my cousin on my 20th birthday. Which, yeah.
On your 20th birthday?
I know. I'm like, well, that's rude. So for the first 2 years I was out here, and I was, not trying to experience that because,
you're in the progress of something.
Listen, I'm a good, I'm going to be with her the rest of my life. This is what, and looking back, I'm like, what the hell was I doing? I wasted 2 years of having a good time at art school. I could have discovered so many things. Like, drugs, I guess.
How to draw women nude.
Oh, boy. So our first class of nude drawing was they bring in the model and this tall blonde fake boobs. And I was like, this is okay.
Now this is art school, folks.
And I'm like, this is fantastic. This is every day. This is every day here. And then like the next 2 years was all senior citizen volunteers. And I was like, you really learn the contours and shadows with 68-year-old women and folds.
Is that a flap or is that a growth? What is that, man?
So many folds.
Can you lift that up for a second?
God bless it. Yeah, I don't like the shading on that mole. You should probably see a dermatologist about.
Helen, I think that changed since the last time you were here.
There's a sketch I did, and it's charcoal, so it's hard to tell, but that skin tag
it's mostly dark, but
that could be melanoma. You should check that out, right?
Wow, okay.
It's not, yeah, and it's one of those, you think it's you think one thing, and then, but at the same time, one guy told me on stage is like, every place you go, anywhere you go, people are just looking for something to do at night. Doesn't matter, big city, small town, everybody's looking for something to do. And it's true, because you go downtown, every time you go to a bar, it's like, all right, we're going to go to this bar. I heard it's great. So you leave that bar to go to that bar, and that bar's not good, so you go to this bar, and you just jump back. And then eventually it's the end of the night, and you got to go home. And nothing was any better than the last one, but
you're always looking for something to do.
You spent the whole night looking for something to do. And
well said.
Sometimes you found it. But
do you have like an all-time story about finding something you weren't expecting while you were out trying to find something to do?
Not at all. I'd say 6 nights a week during my 20s, I bartended down in the tech center, like a block away from County Work South. There's a little bar called Harlow's Tavern. I worked there from when I was 21 to 24. So I'd go in at 4-ish. I'd get there around, I was supposed to be there at 4. I'd get there close to 4 when I could. And then I would drink. Until we shut down, which was 9, 10 o'clock most nights. So I'd go and I'd drink for 6 hours, get paid. And then I'd go meet my friends out. And it had to save me so much money for my 20s. Because it was literally like I drank for free for 6 hours. And had a great time. I talked to all the people. Friends would come in, whatever it was. And I'd get them free drinks, which is, I don't know, borderline unethical. But nobody fired me. So I was like, well, let's ride this thing till the wheels come off.
Right.
But I go out and then we drink and literally.
Who could blame you? You don't have a prefrontal lobe at this point in time.
Yeah. It's nothing's, obviously. 2 DUIs later, I'm like, well, maybe there's some thought. So, but there was never one night that was just, this was epic, It was just, every night was fun. We'd just do it again tomorrow. But there's never one night where it's like, this is fantastic. This is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah. Consistency, that's key.
Looking back, I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I wasted a lot of time and money for what?
Yeah.
Wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, facts.
But at the same, I like,
you can't look back and be like, there's this one thing.
Yeah. All the people you met, you talk to 3 of them now, in your 20 years later, you're not in touch with any of them, It's like, wow, I guess I should have maybe gone to college and started a career.
Yeah.
Looking back, what a 401k, you say? That sounds.
I don't know. I've got one of those building, and it feels like I'm never going to see it. So
when you're 25 versus when you're 44, you're like,
no, I feel you.
Wow, I'm a lot closer to that. I can start drawing from that than I was when I should have started putting it in. So 59 and a half, that's when you can start pulling that out. And I feel like this is the first time today that I made an IRA contribution. So
hell yeah.
Yeah, maxed it out so I'm like, you know what? I'm well on my way.
How about that, folks? Keep doing that for 15 more years and the government will steal it from you at the end of it.
I'm an adult now. Look at me doing the things I should have done 20 years
if you
ago.
Did that 20 years ago, you wouldn't be where you are in terms of being funny and cool and all the things you have in life.
Theoretically, I could have done both, but who's to say?
That's a grass is greener. I do that all the time to myself. I don't think that's fair.
Well, look back on it. I'm like, if I had a 9-to-5 job and I was in upper middle management at this point, having 20 some years in the company, would my life be happier, better? Who's to say?
I don't know. It seems I've met a lot of different kinds of people in my life at the young age I'm at. I really have. And the happiness level of people isn't tied to the basicness or normalness of their lives.
No. Well, my brother Daryl, who lives here in town, he works for a cabling company, and they do government jobs where they do fiber internet cabling for all this stuff. And he's been with them for, I think, 10 years or better. And he makes, 6 figures doing whatever it is. And, he's never excited about his job. He does it every day. He's got great benefits. It put his 2 kids through school. They're going to college now.
And then that's the part of life that makes it not boring and normal. That the richness that he gets to provide then for, right? Like,
and it's like, I was like, you hate your job. You do it every day, but you do it because what else are you going to do? They pay me more than I ever thought I'd make to do it there. And I make, let's be generous and say I make a quarter what he makes a year doing what I do. And I generally don't hate what I do day to day, but I think to myself occasionally, I'm like, if I wasn't trying to do comedy, like, how much more would I actually get done as far as life in general? Like, I do my day job, and then if I have got a comedy show that night, I know I have to quit early to go home, shower, change, and then drive back to do the show wherever it's at. Or if it's out of town, I got to take 3 days off because I have to drive there, do the show, and then maybe another show, and then the next day I got to drive back, so I can't work that day either. But would my life be better if I was making 6 figures a year doing something I hated? And then, you work 9 to 5, and then I honestly don't. For 20 years, I've been doing comedy. Like, I have no idea what people do when they get off work at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock.
I got off today around 4.
And then they got nothing to do until the next morning.
Well, for me, what I was struggling with for a while was that I was going to work, coming home from work, like sitting around watching more screens or whatever, and then getting to dinner, making dinner, and then going to bed, and then being like stuck in a bad cycle. And I think a lot of young people get stuck in this bad cycle and think that like, oh, this is what adulthood is.
Yeah.
And you see these TikToks of like the day in the life of a normal whatever, and it's like super mundane, and this is
adulting.
What I had to do to get out of it was get a second job. Right. Be like, oh, I have to go get another door guy job. I had to do that thing I used to joke about, like, oh, don't kill yourself here at Penguin so you can make it back to the Comedy Works.
Right? You're like, I'll never do this again.
And so, like, I was like, oh, no, I got to do that. And then it's like, oh, well, that's more work and that's more time. But what am I doing? What's the alternative? I sit around and do nothing? Sit on my hands and be sad?
Yeah.
Fuck that, dude.
What's the next? It just blows my mind. I'm like, I'm just like, what the hell would I have done for the last 20 years if I wasn't trying to do comedy? It's just, I'm like, I'm pretty sure my shower would be finished at the house. Outside of that
has nothing to do with comedy talent, and you know it.
I know, just dragging my feet. As soon as that shower's
done,
get
that shit done.
That's the last project at my lovely wife's house, and when I finish that, I believe I outlived my usefulness.
Oh, no. So you're keeping it.
I'm not entirely sure.
Okay.
I'm not entirely sure that she's going to keep me around after I finish.
So it's a back pocket job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because COVID put me like 3 years out in front of home improvement projects. So I'm like, I got to drag my feet on this one. I
got a lot of time, honey. Now we got to.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen inventories? It's so tough to get products.
It's so hard. What with the backflow from China, it's crazy. With this, I got a bunch of tile in my pickup right now. I didn't get home to unload it before I came here. Not looking forward to that.
Damn. Well, I'm sorry to be making you unload in the dark later. Geez.
No, I'll wait till the morning. I skip the gym. They're so heavy.
Damn.
But no, it's crazy. Like I honestly don't know what, because you hear people say, well, you 40-hour week. Like where I grew up, and when I worked in the summertime, I worked for Harvest Crew, and we go out at 6 a.m. and we won't get back till after midnight. And that was the only job I had outside of working on the farm. And I come out here and they're like, you got to work 40 hours a week. And I'm like,
what about all that other time?
You're like, what do you do Thursday and Friday then? I'm like, well, what happens? You have 4 days off? That's crazy. But when you think it's 8 hours a day, that's your job. And then all the rest of the time you have off. And it's like, that's crazy. That's nothing. It's weird to think that there's people just like, I have no time for anything. I work 50 hours a week. You're fine. You're fine. Are you trying to be a comedian? Because that will eat up a lot of your damn time for no reason at all.
Be sitting around for a while.
Yeah. I spent 2 hours today putting together my next shows. I had to put together an Eventbrite deal for a show I'm doing at my clubhouse in my neighborhood, and putting all that, trying to put that out on social media, doing all this stuff. And I'm like, and then it was 2 hours later. I'm like, Jesus, that took long. I was like, all right, well, I guess there went the morning.
Yeah.
But it's like, but then that's something you got to do.
It's part of the job.
Part of the job. And they're like, well, I don't get to write off those hours as for my taxes. Nothing like that. But if you don't do it, then.
I can't remember who said it, but it's like, the work is all the time. When I'm on stage, it's for free.
Yeah. That's.
Being a comic is an all the time job. Yeah. And then when you get on the mic and do the job, it's you doing that for free.
And because
you get paid to travel and do the flights and take the car rides and do the whatever the heck and sit around, wait. And then this is for free. And that's the mindset you have to have, because then you're not yourself with your buddies in the car, like you said earlier.
But that's the kicker. It's like, when that's the payoff when you're on stage. That's when you feel it's the greatest feeling. And that's the reason. Everybody's like, why? I can't imagine doing that. I'm like, well, it takes a special kind of sociopath to actually, and that's the part you enjoy, just talking to strangers about, you don't know if the strangers are going to enjoy your set, but you assume they will. The last strangers kind of did. Yeah. Maybe these strangers will like me too. And it's just the idea. But then there's, the 10 minutes after where people are, either avoiding eye contact with you or shaking your hand and telling you what a great job. They had a great time. And then they walk out 5 minutes later. They don't even remember who the hell you were. who's that guy we saw last night that opened for the other guy?
No idea.
Yeah. The white guy?
You're gone.
Yeah.
That's a fun little thing that I try to remind my young friends. Like, nobody gives a fuck about you.
Oh.
And that should be a really freeing conclusion because you're allowed to make mistakes or try things or fuck up or do whatever. And a lot of people think they're stuck in this 9 to 5, whatever, go home, sleep, wake up, repeat.
Yep.
No, dude. What are you doing with all the other time? Go harvest. Be on the harvest crew.
Yeah.
For you. Be on the harvest crew for you, man.
That's for you, buddy. But that's what my wife will talk about. She's like, well, you got to do this and this, and then so they'll know who you are. And I was like, nobody cares who I am when the next guy gets on stage. That's the case. I'm like, they enjoyed me, and then they're like, who's next? And it just sucks because
it's really hard to explain to people that aren't comics how fickle the thing that you're doing with all of your heart and soul is.
And it sucks when you realize that is the thing. It's like, because your ego wants you to be the guy that they remember and love, but they're just trying to escape, and that's all it is. And it's great that you get to be a part of that, and they enjoy that, because inevitably after every show someone will come up and say, you are our favorite comedian tonight. I was like, well, I appreciate that. It's not, you can't be like, yeah, I should be headlining. It's like, should you? Or did that guy just enjoy you a little more than the next guy has?
Sure.
So, and at some point, it's like...
It's a preference game, too. And people have tastes. And
oh, for sure.
So.
Yeah. Because my mom's heard other comedians, and she's never once said, you were my favorite. Can we take a break?
It's Modelo time, folks.
Yeah, right. My wife will be like, Brian Regan's my favorite comedian. I'm like, well, fucking have him clean out the litter box then. Not once has she ever been like,
well, come on. You'd hope that I would hate if I'm my wife's favorite comedian, I will not be doing comedy the right way. Let me tell you one thing.
It could be worse. She could be like, that guy that opened for you last week, he's my favorite.
Talon, what am I doing? Cuck comedy? I don't want to be my wife's favorite comedian. God, what a terrible way to think.
At least it's Brian Regan. That's my point.
That's the thing.
It's like...
it could be something worse.
So I met him downtown one night. The manager comes backstage. I think I was emceeing one night, and she goes, do you want to meet Brian Regan? He's here. And he wasn't on the show. And I go, yeah. And she goes, I don't know who that is. I was like, you don't know who Brian Regan is? So we go out into the lobby, and Regan's there, his brother's there, and he's got like 10 people with him. And we go out there, and I can't remember who somebody was the 20-minute set, the A1 down there, and he'd met him before, so he's going to introduce me. So he introduces me, and I go to Brian Regan. I was like, you're the last guy that I paid to see here at Comedy Works before I started doing comedy. And I was like, it was 2002, and you said that joke where you said, you know who I really feel bad for is Arab Americans who really truly want to be crop dusters. And Brian Regan just staring at me, and he goes, yeah, I used to do that joke. And then just turns and walks away. Oh, and I was like, you're my wife's favorite comedian. And so I'm standing there getting a beer, and he walks over and he goes, how's comedy going? He's like, what are you doing tonight? And I was like, oh, I was not expecting a follow-up question, Mr. Regan. I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, what are you doing here tonight? And he goes, oh, I had to play a private gig at some guy's airplane hangar. So we're downtown. I was like, can I buy you a beer? He's like, let me buy you a beer. So he orders 20 drinks. And the fucking bartender goes, your money's no good here, Brian. And I was like, I'm making $20 tonight. You'll take my money? He just made 30 grand at a private gig.
This is how the world works, brother.
And I was like, I want to get so good that my money's no good here. That's the famous I want to be. That's fantastic.
Dude, it's like it's so cool. It's like art. It's high art seeing those guys perform, and they're that good.
You break through that level.
Oh man.
And it's fantastic. That's the thing, but that's the dream.
Yeah.
To be that guy. It's like how How do you be that guy?
I want to run for sheriff of an obscure town. That's my dream. I want to write a book and go into obsolescence and in some obscure area, do a world tour and then leave and then go be sheriff of some small town. I want to do something like that. Homestead.
Beautiful catchphrase. And then every time you arrest a guy, that's the catchphrase. And
no, this isn't a joke, sir. Yeah. Get in the car.
Yeah. And he's just like, do I know you? Oh my God, I've been arrested. Yeah. And well, there's a reality series in there somewhere.
Yeah. The tall comic cop.
Yeah. Steven Seagal did it for a minute.
That's
there.
True. It's totally true.
Just trying to hang on. God, he was trying to hang on so bad.
Oh my goodness. He's still around, right? He's
I
still
was
kicking.
like, listen, you had Under Siege. Let it go, buddy.
Dude, he's probably got, what, a few more good years left, hopefully?
Theoretically. I assume he can still.
I don't know if I want to get super old. I think I'd be cool not. I mean, I already hurt at a young age. I've been through a spinal fusion at 25. I think I'm good with. I think I'm already old.
But the alternative?
Yeah, that sounds good. Sign me up for that.
It?
Yeah.
It
sounded good for a while.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's fine. That's where we all go, into the eternal consciousness.
Then I would stop maxing out your IRA contributions if that's your plan.
Why? Why not still max that out? Someone's going to get that.
Well, but why? Why would you want to pass that on to the next generation? Let them do it.
Nah, they need the leg up. It helps.
Live every
That's
day.
what trickle-down economics is, Talon.
I don't know.
I got to trickle it down to them.
Listen, I'm not entirely sure my parents have that same attitude. I don't know if I'm getting a whole lot of money after that. But a neighbor, it passed away last year. Good friend of mine. Yeah, I took him to his cancer appointments, all this stuff, and he left a couple $1 million to his nephew.
Damn.
Back east, who he knew but didn't know. And I'm like, what were you doing? What, you're buying discount wine for like?
As someone who lost their father figure, uncle, who could have gotten a bag from that and gotten nothing. I think that's better to get nothing.
So, well, no, I wasn't upset that he gave the money to his nephew.
No, but for that kid, though, I'm saying for his life outcome, it will be worse that he got that money than if he didn't.
Oh no, he got a couple million from his father the year before, so I don't even think he understood his uncle's money. But
damn,
but
either way,
I'm sitting there thinking, I'm thinking like, what were you doing? Why would you not have enjoyed?
Do you think a kid like that would invite strangers on a podcast that they make on themselves? No, fuck no. The people like that don't do cool things. That's why you don't need to get the bag. You need people not to give you the bag, so you end up keep doing cool stuff.
That guy has so many more problems than we do.
100%, man.
He's stressed out all the time. I promise you.
This is a very good...
But it's just like, what?
But it's cruel. It's still cruel. It's still cruel to sit on this side of the grass and be like, what the fuck is that green stuff over there? I want some of that.
I wish I had that problem. Like, what am I supposed to do with all these millions? Oh, this investment is just, it's stressing me out. It's stressing me out, honey. It baffles me. Like, I have there's no, but at the other end of the thing there, when you get in your 40s and you're not living paycheck to paycheck, you're comfortable, you got zero debt in your life, and you're doing comedy because you can. I do the job I do because it allows me the flexibility to, if I got to take Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off next week on a last minute, there's no problem with that. But there's no fire under my ass to get out and do more. Like, I don't have to, and that's probably part of the problem where I'm, 18 years in and I'm not, no one's discovered you. You're not doing this. You're not in LA. You're doing all this stuff. There's no real drive for me to have to force comedy to provide, which is, it's like a double-edged sword. Like, I don't have to put pressure on doing comedy to make it work, so I don't have to actually go and market myself.
We're doing a fucking show in here, people, dickhead. God damn.
Guy.
That's an illegal muffler, folks. What you just heard.
That's the reason we need electric cars.
No.
to help podcasters.
No.
Electric cars.
Flat out, no.
We need to push the deadline up. 2030, not soon enough.
They're all obscure fake alarmist bullshit so that they can pass transfer payments to certain people's pockets, dude. I hate that shit.
Allegedly. This is for entertainment purposes.
No, dude, it's been
only.
proven.
This is for
Have you seen that the BLM people bought houses?
My name is Elliot Woolsey. I don't want to put on the list here. This is not the opinion of everybody on the podcast.
No, it's not the opinion of anyone. This is a satire-based product.
I don't think you're wrong. I got to be honest with you there. My wife, I told her, I was like, do you want to get an electric car? She works at home. She drives to her Pilates studio and back 14 times a week. That's it. At Taco Bell a couple times. She puts on, let's say, if she puts on 100 miles on her car in a month, I'd be surprised.
Wow. Okay.
And I was like, do you want to get an electric car? No. Why would I want that? I'm like, you're the
one.
You're the reason for electric cars, honey. We don't go anywhere in your car. That's it. No, I don't want one. I'm like, well, that's fine. I was like, but
the tax breaks or whatever, they really try to make you.
I'm like, you believe in all that shit. I'm like, you should want one. You should be telling me you want an electric car. Nope. Not a thing. I was like, well, I don't care. On some level.
Yeah.
We go back and forth. Well, we don't. It's more of I shut my mouth and.
Well, you told me that's a good policy. I'm trying to listen to that one.
Yeah.
Trying to get better about that.
Yeah. Like I said, wait till your second marriage.
Trying to shut up and dribble, folks.
But no, it's because my brother works for the state of South Dakota, and they had a big push to put charging stations in across the country. So there's between Rapid City and where I live, there's about 100-mile stretch. About 75 of it is interstate. So there's a big rest stop called Wasta Hill. Big hill. It's a pain in the ass when it snows. Oh, so big rest area there, and they're going to put charging stations in. And so Pete Buttigieg sends out one of his wonderful elected officials to nominated officials. So
a backdoor dealer.
Yeah. Hey, everybody.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's a good one. If you really think about it, come on. That's a fucking good joke. On the fly. Because of the people that had sex in the congressional halls.
Yeah, but that was. Come on. That was.
Remember that? Remember that video?
Yeah.
Remember that video, folks?
I did not see it. I think it got the same.
That's homophobic for you not to watch that video.
Well, I think it got banned. I want the 2 girls 1 cup. I never got to see that one either.
You can still find those. You know that, right?
I do. I don't. Yeah, I don't want to. Listen up.
I like how you try to pawn off. I didn't get the Google invite. I'm technologically disabled. Blah blah blah. Yeah.
I searched for those on my wife's phone. Just the algorithm. I don't need that. So anyways, Buttigieg's representative comes out. He's talking about how big federal government deal. They're going to put all these charging stations in right in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota. Big charging station. And somebody who I assume got fired immediately after that piped in. He goes, how are you going to get electricity to this charging station? And the federal representative says they will be on diesel generators. So the giant charging station in the middle of nowhere, they're going to have to truck in diesel.
People don't understand how power, the average person doesn't understand how power works, I think. Yeah, literally. It's like, whoa.
Does that not just defeat the whole purpose of all of that?
But where will the emissions from the diesel generator engines go, folks?
Because it's not like you show up and you start the diesel generator. The generator's running all the time.
Literally 24 hours a day.
It's just fascinating to me how that's... But that same guy who's saying we need to do this, it's straight face. That's how you do it. Diesel to charge. I've seen so many videos of Teslas going down the road with a Honda generator on a bike rack on the bumper hitch, plugged in. And I'm like, it's
the extender power, dude.
Good for you. That's innovative. I'll give him that. But Isn't that?
That's why hybrid is the real thing. You should have batteries and an engine.
It's a great, I mean, because that's the thing. It's like, there's no, like, everybody who's against electric cars can't be like, hybrids are dumb. Are they? Because they save you how much gas? And what's the downside?
The regenerative braking gets better and better every year.
What's the downside?
There's literally no downside.
So,
I guess the batteries go bad, and they really don't. Another thing that people don't talk about, they don't know how to dispose of a lot of these parts that they use for these electric vehicles. Yeah. And so they're really have to reinvent disposal methods in large parts of the country, or, certain areas that have to get dedicated where they're going to just toxically pour these battery wastes in other parts.
Well,
and they all come from slaves. Let's be very clear. All of these batteries come from slave labor, child slave labor.
Yeah.
They've exposed it. They've all the phones, everything we use, the cameras, everything.
If you see a video of a lithium mine in the middle of the Congo,
it's so horrible, bro.
It's like,
what are we doing? Like, why are we fighting about like politics or like who's going to be a puppet or what are we like? What are we doing here?
I know you sit there and you think about all the problems you have, and then you see a child with a basket strapped to his forehead,
loose like thing that he's like tearing into,
climbing a half mile out of a lithium mine. You're like, God bless. I think we're doing like, okay.
Damn, I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah,
pretty fucking lucky.
And I was like, maybe I shouldn't bitch about what I got.
Yeah, shut up and dribble, Sean.
Yeah, that's but at the same time, like it doesn't matter. Whatever level you're at, everybody's got problems wherever you are. And it sucks, but they're your problems. So that, that kid's got way more problems than I do, but do his problems affect me? Not until I have to buy a new cell phone, but
TVs are cheap.
I know, that's the kicker. I'm like, yeah. Because you sit there and think, like, when I was a kid, my father had the TV, and then we had Dad's old TV that worked sometimes for our video games. And it was a 19-inch TV, and it was fantastic because we had a TV in a room for video games. I've got 6 TVs in my house now.
Right.
It's like, there's 2 of us that live here. There's
two people, 6 TVs, more TVs than people by 3-fold.
I'm like, what the hell am I doing? There's no reason for it, but I need all of them.
It's capitalism, dude.
I need all. I know that. So I can't not have them.
I mean, they have Red Zone, but then they're not big.
Yeah.
I want them big.
No, I can watch the Sunday Ticket here, but how do I get the in market games? I gotta have another TV.
That's why we pay for the subscriptions, honey.
Yeah.
What, are we not going to buy the TV? It's the same price as the subscription.
Life is tough, and she doesn't want to watch it, so we got to have another TV for her.
Bingo.
And what if she has to get up and go to the bathroom? Is she not going to watch TV in the bathroom?
Come on, folks. This is America.
Yeah.
Well, have you heard of this silly country? Speaking of America, have you heard of this country called England before, Talon?
I have.
They've got this
loosely based
thing called knighting over there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, here at Top Shelf Studios, I'm doing the hiding.
Oh.
Because people all my life, they've been like, can I get a couple inches? How's the weather up there? And you play basketball and shit like this.
Yeah.
Come to learn, now I've got this prefrontal lobe. This is just a meat suit that I get to drive every day.
Oh, sounds lovely.
And it's like, damn, we're all just driving these vehicles, and we judge each other on our vehicles more than other things. And it's like, why?
Yeah.
So after a long form conversation, I'm pleased to give you a heart height.
Oh?
Give you a hiding.
Oh.
How tall do you stand physically, Talon?
Theoretically 6'2", but it's been a minute since I've been to an actual doctor.
Dermatologist.
So, yeah, right. My chiropractor says I'm doing okay.
Talon Saucerman, I height thee 6'5".
Oh, that's
got a 3-inch positive differential on his heart here, folks.
I could throw away my lifts.
Hopefully not too big that you have to require a procedure for that heart. Where can the people find you, sir? This has been an absolute blast of a hang.
Well, I live out, not physically.
Not like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Here's the kicker. I have a website, and people are like, oh, I don't really get on the internet. Do you have Facebook? I'm like, that's still the same thing. It's Talon Saucerman. Website's talonsaucermancomedy.com. Instagram, Facebook, Talon Saucerman. And it's and they all link back to my website, which nobody goes to anyways. So
go to his website, folks, just so he sees the traffic.
Two or three of you,
intolerable bump.
Don't even have to scroll through it. Just click on it.
Immediately back.
Yeah, back your browser out. I just need the validation for the $23 a year I spend to maintain said website. But I got a comedy special on there that I taped a few years ago at a beautiful theater in Parker, which is wonderful because I'm usually doing sold out bar shows in Nebraska. And it's hard to get a quality video
when people are bumping into shit
in Arnold, Nebraska at the back end of a prime rib dinner. So wonderful show. Just hard to get a quality video on something like that. But it's one of those deals of like, you just got to get your name out there. And it just sucks because I'm like, so what's the next, what's the break, you got to open for the right guy. I'll take you on the road. And then, because you hear all those stories about that, like a kid named Brian Kellen, 20-some years ago, opened for George Lopez. George Lopez has been taking him on the road for 20 years. And the guy's been, he's making great money doing comedy for the last 20 years. Nobody knows his name outside of working with George Lopez. And I'm like, that doesn't sound terrible. Just, making six figures, getting paid to go all over the world, do comedy. You're doing what you love. There's some, you want to be the guy, but at the same time, it's just, this is what you do to make a living. That's awesome. That'd be great. Yeah, I have no idea.
So if you're a headliner looking for a new feature to take around the world, here's your guy, folks.
I got better pants at home. I promise. It's just
I think they're out of the shop mostly, so we're fine. I'm wearing sweatpants tonight. It's a kind of a casual vibe.
It's one of those deals. I'm at the Comedy Works downtown. 3 shows tomorrow night. Very exciting times.
So what happened in the past? I'm a little bit backlogged. I wish I would be able to turn these around this
3 weeks ago, you could have seen me at Comedy Works downtown.
He's going to have more shows.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Check out comedyworks.com.
I gotcha. And also, we haven't talked about this yet, but Sean may be opening for me in Parker here tomorrow. I don't know when you're going to post this. The 25th.
The 25th
of January.
Of January? I would love that.
If you're going to post this the 24th. Tomorrow he'll be in. Whatever it is.
Let's make it happen.
We're going to talk. I should have. This is the wrong time.
What a nice surprise.
This is the wrong time to bring this up.
I got a spot, man. Something to look forward to in my life.
Damn it. I shouldn't have brought this up at the end of the show. But we will talk after the thing. Is this it? Are we done?
Yeah. You can stay and hang out. We can watch some of this Nuggets game that I think's going on.
Is that happening right now?
Yeah.
I'm on.
Thanks for listening. Please go follow him. Watch him do comedy.
Thank you.
He's a good guy.
Thanks for having me, Sean.
And he's going to be back, hopefully. Because he's like, there was another episode with more guests, so
great wings.
Not satisfied with just a solo appearance.
Come for the wings. Stay for the...
Thanks for being here. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm trying to remember if I have any more, housework to do. Be good to other people in your life. For you, for me, for everyone.
Yeah.
And then be mean after that. Fuck off and be well.
Be kind to their faces.